Hey everyone, it's Bob, and I'm going to talk to you about another one of my tickets. It's WrestleMania weekend right now. Actually, it's starting in a couple minutes. So I figured, why not talk to you about the first WrestleMania I ever went to, April 1st, 1990, Skydome. So when I was living in Chatham, WrestleMania 3 happened to take place in Detroit, Michigan, and I really wanted to go at the time, but we had a family event, so I couldn't go when it happened. So I was really disappointed, and I said, I really want to go see a WrestleMania. So when they said they was going to come to Toronto, it didn't matter what was going on, I was going to be there. So I actually had convinced a friend of mine, Gary DeRue, well, I didn't convince him, I think we were both big fans at the time, to come up, and my parents drove us, and we spent the weekend in Toronto to go see WrestleMania. And before, a couple of weeks before, Gary and I had made a whole bunch of signs. We were pretty excited. And, we made a Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior sort of a tail of the tape, side-by-side comparison sign, because that was the main event. We did a sign for Dino Bravo. We did a sign for a lot of the bad guys. We were fans of the bad guys. The only sign we did for a good guy was one for the Big Boss Man. And we kind of did it, I said it was kind of a joke, just so Gary wouldn't make fun of me, because secretly I was a really big fan of the Big Boss Man. It didn't matter if he was a good guy or bad guy. At this point, he had turned good. But I was such a big fan of his, I said, I'm going to have a sign up, and we'll hold it ironically, Interesting note, a couple weeks before Big Boss Man Ray Traylor passed away, sadly, I had actually been in touch with him, and we were in early discussions about possibly me writing his autobiography. So, sadly that never got to happen, but it was pretty cool to talk to him, after being a fan of his for so long. Anyhow, Gary and I, to pass the time on the drive up, we had created a WWF dice game. So it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, right? You pick your wrestler, and we had a list of the wrestlers and their moves, and you roll the dice, and that would take hit points off the other guy, or off the opponent. And you could win by pin or submission. There was kickouts, there was reverses, there was cheating, and we did this all with roll the dice, based off of Dungeons and Dragons. So yes, you might not believe it, but I was a wrestling fan and a Dungeons and Dragons fan. So yeah, I was the coolest guy in high school. Anyway, the show was, it was insane, because this was one of the early shows at the Skydome. And certainly it was the biggest one that had ever happened to date in that arena. It was the first time we had been there. It was really an awesome experience. Even though I wasn't a big fan of Hogan the Warrior, that match was just insane. The intensity in the building was crazy. Wrestling fans in Toronto have always been stellar. And, all the preparation in our signs, we were a couple of idiots, because there was no way, we were in this 200 bowl, but there was no way that our sign was ever going to be seen on TV. That was not going to happen, but we had them anyway. And I remember we were sitting across the arena floor. We could see into the commentary booth. So we saw Jesse the Body Ventura in his pink tuxedo. And I thought that was cool, because we were pointing him out. Oh, look, there's Jesse in his pink tuxedo. So I thought that was really, really neat. And I asked him about that tuxedo when I got the chance to interview him for Slam Wrestling, probably a year or two ago. And he told me the story of, he said he thinks he still has it. It's in storage somewhere. But, he couldn't tell you exactly where it was. But he did remember it. And the other thing I remember was the whole crowd doing a wave. And there was actually two waves going up, one in the upper bowls, one in the lower bowls, and just insane. I've never seen a crowd, until maybe WrestleMania 18, which happened in Skydome a dozen years later. I've never seen a crowd that electrified for a wrestling event. Anyway, that's the last piece I want to tell you about. It's funny, because I went to one of the ushers at the end of the event and was asking, because they had these really cool pins for the shirts, and they're probably about the size of my palm. And I was talking to this one lady, and she actually gave it to me. So I have a pretty cool souvenir that only staff from the Skydome got from that event. So I still have that hidden away somewhere. I'm gonna have to find it and dig it out one day, but it was pretty cool. Anyway, it's a good time, great memories, and it's the first of many WrestleManias. I'll talk about some of those at another time. Take care now.